Hi,
Hello,
I'm Julian.
and I am Tom.
We are Team Binge. We are here to talk about Lasso, Season 4, Episode 3. This one was called Richmond's Got Talent. And just to clarify, we're talking about the TV show Ted Lasso, not our other pod where we discuss different types of lassos and how those lassos should be applied in real life. Tom, I am always a little bit afraid that this show, starting on what I would say is a high because my expectations were low, will then drop down to a low, and I will be like, okay, this is what I was afraid of. I enjoyed this episode immensely. We are bringing in the team and some more characters. I guess, really enjoying Beard, Chilton, and Ted as a threesome, which is maybe the wrong terminology.
Phrasing,
We'll come up with,
yeah.
I don't know, what is a group of coaches called? A murder, Tom? What is...
They're a coach triangle.
A
is
coach
something.
triangle?
The pyramid. They're a pyramid. They're not diamond dogs yet. We haven't had a diamond dog session.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I just very much enjoy the three of them and where we're going. So I had a lot of fun with this episode. I didn't really care about Matisse or Matilda or Mateos, whatever his name is, until this episode. I could not help but feel for him being stood up by Rebecca. And then also they gave Keeley some stuff to do in this episode, which was fun. So I enjoyed this episode. Tom, how did you feel?
No, I could agree more, man. I thought it was great. I feel like they're still like very heavy-handed with like the women's sports stuff. Like when we get to the shareholder meeting later, and like the people just like leaving, or they start the game and everybody's like yawning. I feel like that's just. I mean, I don't know. Like they're trying to push that very heavy on us, which I get. I get what they're trying to do for the show, but overall, I think the writing, the comedy, it's all still there, and it was fun to see some characters come back. Like Phoebe, I wasn't expecting Phoebe to come back, but she came back roaring. That was great. And then seeing kind of Henry get a little bit more, like, I guess, involved. I just assumed this was like a summer thing and he was coming back to just hang out. But no, he's going to school. He's getting acclimated. We're gonna make him an Englishman come end of the season.
Yeah. I think he's in Gryffindor is what they decided in this one. So we'll see how that all goes. Whatever. I'm a Slytherin, Tom, so it doesn't matter. And speaking of Slytherin, they opened this episode with the classic Slytherin greeting, which I found unsettling, honestly. Once again, we watched this with children in the house, so when it comes in at top volume, it does get a little bit much. But this nice lady seemed to be in a lot of pain, Tom, and she was expressing it verbally.
Well, so yeah, I know you said your children had heard this. Did your child come running downstairs thinking that their mother was screaming in pain? Because that's what happened in our house.
Oh, no. Did he really? Oh,
our poor kid. Rough. I put him to bed. I kind of gave him like 5 or 10 minutes to kind of settle. Go downstairs. We start the show, and it starts with this lady screaming. He comes running down the stairs. So like he had no idea what was going on. We told him we were watching a show or a movie, but I felt so bad for the kiddo.
Right. You had to give him the Ted to Henry speech, which we hear, but we don't say. We hear, but we don't say.
Thankfully, it was just loud. You couldn't make out the actual F word. So.
Oh, I got to be honest. I probably wouldn't have known what she was screaming the first time, other than the subtitles were like in 64 font ! Whatever. This is my hang-up. We can get over it. But it was a very funny way and a very, we'll just say, abrupt way to start an episode. And we find out, which was kind of a lot of like misdirects in this episode. Like, hey, here's where we're going. Oh, we're going to turn it around on you. This one, you think it's a sports injury, but instead it is just their main striker finding out that she's pregnant. They are losing strikers left and right. We lost one to an ACL and one to a pregnancy within 2 episodes or 3 episodes, right?
Yeah, they need to find their aces up their sleeves, like their Tarts and their Rojas. Getting Maria Rojas to show up later was great, but we'll get into it. But I do like how you have Chilton here. She's like, oh, I wish you all the health and happiness. And then the very next scene, she's like, oh, this is terrible for us.
Right. There are some times, and I'm sure this is purposeful, where Chilton is the least coddling or the least sympathetic character on the crew of coaches, which I guess makes sense because we know Ted and Beard. But I'm learning to love Chilton and all that she brings to this table. She's quite great. They discuss open tryouts, which we will obviously have as a great sports trope. I think we all love the Keanu Reeves vehicle, The Replacements, Oscar-winning movie with Gene Hackman as the coach, one of the greatest sports movies ever made. Right, Tom?
I mean, I would argue Field of Dreams is up there, but yeah, sure.
Sure. Different football movie. And there is a discussion of, and I bring this up now because they closed the episode with it. Did you know who Susan Boyle was?
I absolutely did. I mean, this is the call to, they say Richmond's Got Talent is the name of the episode, and they're constantly bringing up Susan Boyle because she was famously on what's the UK Got Talent, or whatever the equivalent of it is called.
Okay.
But yeah, she was just a beautiful singer. She's like, kind of like a lot of these, I mean, I don't know how much you watch that show, America's Got Talent, but...
Not at all,
like,
Tom. We're starting
okay.
from zero here, buddy.
People kind of come out and like you have expectations for them doing one thing, and then they just kind of blow your mind with some talent. A lot of them being singers. So yes, very very famous singer from the UK version of the Got Talent show.
Right. And I do appreciate they are constantly making references that Chilton doesn't understand. She makes one that they don't understand, and she's like, "Hey, I have to look up your references. You have to do a little bit of research on mine," which was pretty funny. But these three are as a, what are we agreeing to? A pyramid, a diamond,
Let's say a pyramid.
a quadrangle.
Let's say a pyramid.
As a quadrangle, these three are really...
That's four.
I don't know. I'm not a math guy. I think I've proved that. Anyways, it took a lot to prove it, but I've proved I'm not a math guy, Tom. We have a through line with Rebecca and Tom. Give me his name one time, and I swear I won't forget it again. Because Ted hits this door with so much thrust. Thrust is a bad phrasing for what's happening in this scene. He bounces off this door. We find out that Matthias? No, what is it?
I think it's Matthias.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to go with.
The Big M, we're going to call him. And we get a fun... I mean, this is not the first or the last time we've gotten a great pratfall out of Ted with Rebecca's office door, right?
Oh, this was great. Yeah, the force of which he hits this door and then falls completely backwards, like not catching himself and just falling on the mat that I'm sure he fell on, was just priceless and brilliant. I loved it. It's on the same door, right? Because in the previous season, like he, in real life, like doing the scene, hit his forehead like on the top of the door frame and like really got injured. So this door is out for Ted again.
Sure, that's fair. All I know is that I feel that I am of the age of Ted Lasso, and if I hit a solid door like that, I mean, I could feel it in my neck, my back, my shoulders, and everything. I would be high as a kite on painkillers after hitting that door. There is a fun conversation that's happening here where obviously Rebecca and Matthias had other plans that were going to go on. And Ted, having met Matthias for this first time, is like, oh, he's very direct. And he says, I like direct people. They're just like maps in shopping malls. You always know where you stand. And I really enjoyed that whimsical Tedism. I don't know why. It's tough to write them all down, but that one I particularly enjoyed.
Yeah, we're the little circle and star on that mall map right next to the Panda Express.
Right. I also love that we are learning, and you see it in this scene, we are learning to manipulate Rebecca a little bit. Like they've discovered her guilt towards maybe not supporting the women's team fully. And so I'm pretty sure Ted in this moment is like, hey, we want to do open tryouts. Rebecca's not on board. And he's like, it was Chilton's idea. And he calls her Chili, I think, which seems like a pretty legit nickname. But I like that they are using that to kind of, and I don't think it's like a wrong-footed manipulation. I think it's, a normal manipulation, Tom, something you would probably do. You're a normal manipulator, right?
Yes, it's all underhanded. Do you think Ted is actually doing this manipulatively, or I feel like he's just saying this, and she is like kind of overreacting to the last episode and her like quote unquote lack of feminism?
Well, I guess now that I recall, Chilton brought up the idea as a joke, and Beard and Ted kind of hopped on it, and so it was her idea. But I don't know. I saw it as Ted being devious and manipulative. But
Sounds like Ted.
I guess he's Ted level 10, and I'm Lasso level 2. So
I forgot to ask you at the top of the thing, but I feel like based off of you thinking that Ted is a manipulator, that's bringing you down to back to 1, buddy. I'm sorry.
no, I'm gonna stay at 2. Thank you.
Nope.
Okay, we'll talk about it off mic.
Now you're at 0.
Speaking of 0s and 2s and 3s and levels, we go to the shareholder meeting, which I felt like this was the show's excuse just to get everyone together. They were like, hey, let's get these guys their SAG cards and give them some lines. We get the pub crew. More importantly,
Dressing very nice, by the way.
they were dressed very nice. Also, they move in like unison. They like slap their hands and get up and stuff. They've got like, I don't know, they probably have choreographed dance moves at this point, Tom, which is something you're familiar with.
I'm quite certain they were the ones that actually taught them to do the NSYNC dance at the end of last season.
That's fair. I don't have any memory of that, but I'll yes and you. Speaking of yes anding, did you remember the Milk Sisters, Tom?
No, they featured them on screen, and I could not pinpoint where these lovely ladies came from. Where did they come from?
So here's what I can gather. If you'll remember, they are minority stakeholders. They own like 2% or like 2.9% or something like that. And so in one of the seasons, I believe season 1 or whichever one, Ted plays darts with Rupert. They are on their way to meet them, and he calls them the Milk Sisters because they own 2% of the team.
Okay.
And so
That's a fun
I
callback.
don't believe that is their actual last name, but based on the reviews we get on Apple Podcast, we're often wrong, but people still listen. So, and speaking of which, I just want to give a quick shout out to all the people that took the time on Spotify to hit follow and then go to the 3 dots and rate our podcast and give us 5 stars. We've had a huge influx, and we just appreciate you for doing that. And if you haven't, we would ask you to take the time to do that for us as well, and we'll read some later on in the episode. If you listen on Apple Podcasts or have an Apple account, hop on that Apple Podcast app. You can scroll down. It's very simple. It says write a review underneath the reviews for our podcast. Hit that. Send us a note. We'll read it on pod. Give us 5 stars. Once again, Tom and I just appreciate the people that listen and when you reach out to us. And honestly, most of the reviews we get are pretty funny. So it gives Tom and I something to laugh about. So just wanted to hit that. Once again, thank you all for doing that. And you're the Milk Sisters to us, right? No, they'd be higher than 2%. Anyways, let's move on. Roy Kent.
Real quick, just while you're bringing that up, again, we do have like some of the kindest and nicest fans. You guys say some incredible things, so thank you very much. We did just recently find out that through Apple Podcasts, you can see like international reviews. So a bunch of our international audience have been leaving us stuff from like the UK and Canada and Germany. So we just found out that we have a trove of those that came through too. So again, thank you everybody from us to around the world. Appreciate you enjoying our shenanigans. But sorry, onward and upward. Ted
Yeah.
Lasso.
Speaking of people that say kind words, Roy Kent gets up and speaks, and he's like, 2 wins, 1 loss. We played. Sorry, my Kermit voice comes out when I try to do Roy. We played like garbage, and then Higgins didn't even, I don't know if you noticed, he didn't even sit down in time by the time Roy was done.
His knees were bent. His butt was so close to that seat, but no, he has to get back up.
He gets back up, he walks over, and he's like, any questions? And then Roy growls at him. I loved all of this so much. Tom, you're the audience spotter. You're the one that brought up, what was the one from the other episode, which you then sent me a picture of?
It was Paddington Bear. Like, I really hope throughout this season we're going to constantly get people dressed up as different movie characters, because this Marty McFly one with the big vest and denim jacket, it was comedy gold. I loved it. Incredible.
And you are a huge Back to the Future fan. We know this from, I believe, one of the Desert Island episodes that we did way back in the day. You're a huge Back to the Future fan, right?
Love them all. 2 probably my favorite, but 3's an underdog.
Sure. I think they're all just fine. Speaking of fine, this guy's like, hey, Roy, have you been thinking about your contract that's up? And I just wish more coaches would do this, you know?
Well, I mean, I feel like they're playing at just end of season. Roy will have a decision to make, right? Like, that's why they're bringing this up.
Yeah, but also it's none of their business. I also like that they're like, hey, are you worried about your job ending at the end of the season? Have you thought about it? And for anyone to be like, nope, it's not constantly on my mind. I'm not worried about how I'm going to afford my black leather jackets and my black t-shirts and my jeans and my Range Rover that is also black. I don't know, you know?
He'll be fine. He'll be a color commentator again or whatever.
Sure, yes, he did so well in the broadcast booth. That's true. That's true. To your point in the intro, we then have, like, hey, we're going to talk about the Lady Greyhounds, the women's team, and everyone starts to get up. And it's like, I get what you're doing, show. It's kind of like if you've ever gone to one of your kids' recitals, and, like, once your kid's done, you're just like, all right, like, I'm not going to listen to this next kid play the cello, so I'm going to go get a hot and spicy at McDonald's with my kid. But... you know, I know what the show's doing. I do like that Rebecca. Tom, do you have a good whistle, don't you? Am I making this memory up? Don't you have a hard whistle?
I can't do like the finger mouth whistle thing that's like very loud. I can't do the thing where I put both hands together and blow into it to sound like a bird. I can do that one. That's about the extent of my whistling.
Sure. Okay, that's fair.
Do you want me to do it? I can do it on mic.
No. We don't need to spike people's ears. I didn't birth him, but my wife birthed him. We have a son who's just an incredible. He's an incredible whistler. It'll be the number one thing I tell people about him as he grows up, which I don't know that he's real happy about it, but he's an incredible whistler. Okay, she sits everyone down. Keely gets up, and Tom, I'm going to tread on some dangerous ground here.
Go.
At what point am I allowed to comment on Keely's fashion sense? Am I at any point in a safe space to comment on Keely's, like, fashion sense or what Keely's wearing at the shareholders meeting or in other parts of the episode? Am I allowed to say anything? Man.
This is just me and you talking. Nobody else listens to this.
Okay,
Go for it.
Here's what I'd like to say, Tom.
Hey, didn't we do this before? Didn't you have like a fashion corner?
I don't know. All I want to say is I support it all. She looks great. Let's move on. I just did the review thing. I don't need to say more. Let's go on.
I kind of liked her like bedazzled tie. I feel like it kind of like played on what we're going to see later with Phoebe and sparkles everywhere. I love it.
That's fair. I guess I'm maybe thinking of a different outfit. She looks great. And I think she handles this, as your communications director should. She handles this audience wonderfully. Like, they are rude. They're asking questions. She is like, hey, we can do this together if we work together. And then this is a shout out to all of us Redditors out there. This guy's like, hey, didn't you see the contract? It's up on the subreddit. And I was like, ooh, that sounds... Although a Redditor would never say this in public. A Redditor would only say this from, behind their keyboard. And I include myself in that, select group of wonderful people. But I do like that this is where the report is revealed that, like, hey, this isn't viable, and Keely's just finding out for the first time. And it's a plotism, but I understand why they did it,
Yeah, and we had kind of talked about like why Rebecca held this from her. And again, maybe it was, I think what we kind of find out here, it was Keely's enthusiasm for the team and wanting it to be successful. So I guess Rebecca was trying to hide that for her. But I mean, this is going to come out eventually.
Right. It always comes out in the wash or on Reddit. One of those two things. I believe that's the phrase. It always comes out in the wash or Reddit. I just loved later on when they refer to this report, they call it the Higgins report, and he's like, please don't call it that.
Yeah, this audience of rabble-rousers did not learn the acronym.
No, they did not. What did you take from... Someone in the audience goes, the women's team is the reason why Jamie Tart has left. Did Jamie Tart not want to share a locker room with the women's team? Is Jamie not an ally, Tom? I thought he grew as a person. What's happening here? Why did Jamie Tart leave because of the women?
I mean, I heard the same thing, and it was like one of those like just in the background while the rabble rousing didn't make much sense. You can catch it, or it's very easy to miss. But it almost just feels like they want to just throw Jamie's Tart back in her name back into the show. It doesn't make any sense.
Do you get paid if your character's name is mentioned in a show? Are they throwing Phil Dunster a check? Dunphy? No, Phil Dunster. Phil Dunphy's from Modern Family. Anyways, I guess the only other thing I could think is like, hey, we didn't have the money to like renew Jamie's contract or pay him because of but I would argue we're struggling to pay £4,000 for what did Keeley buy
kits?
Earlier? Kits. Yeah. So I don't know that £4,000 was going to keep Jamie around, but I don't know.
I would also argue you can buy kits for much cheaper on TeePublic. Find some sweet Team Binge, threads for much less than $400,000.
Sure.
Or, no, this wasn't $400,000. This was the $4,000.
Right. Or you could buy knockoff Team Binge gear at Temu or Shein. We'd also encourage you guys give those little kids some, work to do over at those factories. So
goodness. Don't joke about children, Julian. It's not
that's
funny.
Right. We're a podcast for children. We're pro children at work. That's all I want to say.
Only farms, though.
Factories and farms. All right. Or
just to be clear, we're not on onlyfarms.com. That's not not our. That's a thing, right? And farmers only. Sorry, I'm thinking about the farmer dating site.
Farmers only. Yeah. Well, you haven't had to be on the apps in a while, Tom. That makes sense.
It's been a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. Your marriage is getting pretty serious, so that's good. Okay. I appreciate an apology via text. I think we've all become cowards, and I think anything serious that's done over text is, and this is just my personal bias, I think is terrible. I know why we do it as humans. We have that opportunity, but and then why does she fall asleep? Was the apology so, exhausting that she fell asleep? What's happening here?
I was confused too. I'm like, is she jet lagged still from this KC trip? But yeah, this is just like the catalyst for the continuing joke throughout of her continuing to miss dinners with Matthias. Big M.
Yeah, Big M. She keeps missing the dates. I do appreciate the bond that forms between the waiter and him. I felt like that was pretty funny.
This is so good. But at a certain point, he gets a hug from the waiter. I missed this at the very end. I'll just bring it up here, where the waiter, he talks to the bartender when they leave, and Rebecca's actually on the date. He's like, "Oh, that poor chap had to hire an escort to save face."
Yes,
what a great line.
Yeah, no, it was a great line. It was very funny, and Big M is so proud. He's like, "See, I do have a real girlfriend," only for this waiter to not believe them.
Love it.
Oh, such a great time dining out, and I thought they both looked fantastic. At their date. I wondered.
Tell us more about their fashion. What did you think about their fashion, Julian?
Huge fan. I thought it was very professional, and I loved everything they were wearing. I guess we do need Julian's
big K
fashion
earrings.
Corner. What?
Is it the big K earrings? Was that what put you off of Keely's outfit?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm already in trouble. Let's move on. All right. We're going to put it in drive and go to school, Tom. We're dropping the kids off at school. We get a lovely moment where Henry is showing... Ted is showing Henry how to tie a tie. Can you tie a tie, Tom?
Oh, yeah. I can tie real well.
Really?
Yeah, double Windsor, baby, all day long.
Okay. When's the last time you had to tie a tie?
Oh, God, decades. I used to have a job where I had to wear a tie every day, and it was miserable. So I pretty much burned them all at this point.
Tom, I had a job that was only phone work, and I had to wear a tie, too. And I'm still mad about it. I'm actually just still furious about it.
Is this video phone work, or you had to just be in that mental state of a guy that wears a tie?
I had to be in front of a camera at a certain time. They would drop tokens. I would have to tie the tie for them. Anyways, let's move on. We're a podcast for children. That doesn't sound good at all. Maybe we have to stop saying that. All right, these kids go to Hogwarts, as we mentioned before.
Yes.
Tom, you would be a Hugglepuff. That's what you would be. Is that right?
No, I'm a Ravenclaw all day long, baby.
Really? Which one's Ravenclaw? Is the inconsequential one that's never involved in anything, right? Is that why you're part of it?
As a Hufflepuff, yeah. They have a whole crux at the end just to give them a little bit of screen time. But yes, they essentially are meaningless.
Man, I have so much I want to ask you about what an escort crux is, but I guess we'll move on. All right, so we have Roy and Phoebe showing up. Roy and Phoebe showing up. It was good to see them back together. I've always enjoyed this relationship. Remember when she had a dead tooth, Tom? That was so great.
Oh, the halitosis episode was fantastic. I just loved seeing her back. Like, I just did not think we would get her. Like, they recast Henry in it, but it makes perfect sense. Like, Henry and Phoebe are of the same age, so having these kind of characters like kind of be together and form a quick bond here, it was lovely, and she's an incredible actress. She does great in this episode.
Oh, she's great. She's like, listen, hang out with me. I've kicked a bunch of people. No one messes with me. I've got your back. She is 100% a Gryffindor or whatever they're called.
Oh, she's a Slytherin.
Okay, that's fair. Listen, I love Slytherin. I'm all about it. I believe she says, she uses the term pizzazz, I think, when she's I think of it as bedazzled.
We say bedazzled.
Okay.
Yeah. Americans say bedazzled. I guess English people say pizzazz. Come at us, internet, but that's what we're going with.
Okay, and I believe this is Roy's sister, and who is the nurse, right? And
nurse, lawyer. I can't remember what her profession was. I think she was a lawyer.
Whatever happened to Phoebe's kindergarten teacher? Remember her, Mrs. Welton, or whatever it was?
No,
Rebecca's last name is Welton. Remember
blanking
the
on her
kindergarten
name.
teacher that Roy was supposed
like the fake
to fall
love
in
interest.
With? Yeah. Man, they really tricked us with her, didn't they?
Oh, I've got to look that up now.
No, all right, I'll riff while you... Listen, this joke where she says to her Uncle Roy, like, you dress in all black, and the sister says something like, he dresses like he's part of the gang from the Mission Impossible movies. It tickled me to no end. Just absolute great.
That was pretty good. Yeah, and he just says it's just minimalism, which I appreciate. But it was Miss Bowen. Miss Bowen was a lovely teacher. Yes.
I'll never forget her or her name, Tom, or her sense of fashion. You know, I'll never forget it. All right, we find out that Phoebe loves the Lady Greyhounds. She's inspired. Mm-hmm. She's excited for this first game, and you can kind of see, like, I don't know that, like, Roy is definitely not against this endeavor, but in some of the things that, like he says naturally, he just assumes she's talking about Richmond, the men's club. She's talking about the women's team. I enjoyed this. I've always enjoyed the Phoebe and Roy dynamic.
Yeah, they are very good. I'm assuming we still have the swear jar. If he swears, she's making some sweet bank, so she's got loads of money.
Oh,
but I think
so much money for bedazzling.
Does she kind of hint here? Like, I mean, she gives him the socks that we see Roy wearing later, which I thought was touching. But does she make mention that she was making, like, Lady Greyhound shirts with her team? And then the idea is they gave up their shirts for the friendly match later on?
I think what we are shown is that children workers have to practice making clothes before we send them to the factory so they can make real kits. So that's what. So these shirts that the kids made for themselves, I don't think they gave them up to the team. I think they were just like in practice. That's what because they wouldn't wear the same size. These are small children, Tom.
That's fair. Okay, fair.
But they practiced, which once again, 10,000 hours in the children's factory before they can produce clothes. That's what Malcolm Gladwell taught me.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't there a thing in Malcolm? How do you say Malcolm? There's a thing in Malcolm in the Middle where they had to make like bracelets in Dewey's class, and they ended up just selling the bracelets.
Yes.
It's like it's that kind of situation.
Yeah, listen, the gotcha wallet and the gotcha bracelet I had as a child was made by a child. I guarantee. Sometime, somewhere. All right, let's move on. Listen, I've been doing a lot of studies on child labor laws recently and how to get around them. So that's why all this stuff has been brought up.
Joking, by the way.
Nope,
we have
we're
to
not.
say that. Full disclosure. I'm joking.
We don't run a factory, Tom. Of course we're joking. If we did, though, I know where we can get cheap labor. All right, let's go. Let's move on. All right, Rebecca and Higgins, they are talking, and we find out that the sponsor is pulling out of the women's team. And who's our sponsor, Tom?
Our sponsor is Pinter and Sons. Now, I got to ask you right up top here. I have no idea what Pinter and Sons are, but I would ask you, what is this company? What do they do? Wrong answers only. Go.
I think right answers only, and they're a latex or paint company. I mean, Pinter is so close to paint. That's where my mind goes. They're making chemicals, latex, paint. They're not using children. These are adults that are making these paints and latex, but they're definitely a bunch of factories, Tom. That's what Pinter and Sons does.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
And I guarantee the Sons never worked a day in their life. I just want to point that out. They inherited this company. What do you think they do?
Well, it was Pinter and son, right? Wasn't there only one son? Or no, that was the grandkids when we see the ladies thing earlier. Okay.
The name is Sons.
Okay, fair. I got no idea what they do. I'm going to assume they sell pint glasses. They pronounce it wrong. They're actually pint glasses. It's Pinter and Sons, not Pinter and Sons. Everybody's been pronouncing it wrong.
I like that. Everyone's like, oh, I'll have a Pinter. And they're like, what? And they're like, it's a pint. And they're like, okay, that's not going to catch on. Let's move on. All right. Keeley has read the report in one night, which...
No way.
Well,
I call foul.
Hey, come on now. I like Higgins.
It's so dry.
Like,
That's the driest of all reading.
I can't believe it. I loved it. You definitely fall asleep a couple of times while reading that report. But she's motivated, right? Like when we're motivated, we do things. It's
true. You know. It's true. I love Keeley. She's great. She's doing great here. I feel like this is the second time. So Rebecca's giving Keeley a gift to try to, I guess, make up for not telling her earlier. She opens the gift. We as an audience don't see it. This is like the second gift that's been given that we don't see as an audience. Like, is this going to be a continuing thing? Because I don't love it, right? Because Lasso gave her, Chilton, the box that he took back.
Right. So here's the deal.
What's in the box? That's what I want to know.
The brand on the box is a very expensive brand, and I know this because my spouse goes, well, rather than give her that gift, she should just give her the money so she can buy the kits. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to come up with the name. It's like Lay Fair or Lay Creme.
Laissez-faire?
Or, you know.
Okay, so the box meant something. Like that color, like a Tiffany's box is that light colored blue specifically. So like, you know that it's Tiffany's. Like this is that kind of concept that.
Yeah, it had a logo on it too, Tom.
Okay.
Oh man, listen, it's going to come to me in the middle of the pod and I'm just going to shout it at you.
Okay.
But ultimately, they revealed to Keeley that the sponsor is pulled off, and therefore Rebecca's got to go meet with them in person.
And yes, Rebecca's off to Canary Wharf, which I don't know what that
Hermes,
is.
Tom. It's Hermes. The H
is
silent.
Hermes.
Hermes.
This is the fancy box. Okay,
yes.
Now I know.
My wife just texted me. Erms. It's pronounced Erms, Tom. Sorry, I stepped on
Why are you
it.
texting?
Where's Rebecca?
Why are you texting your wife?
I
during
texted my
pod?
wife the whole time we're podcasting. I'm not paying any attention to you.
But yeah, go to Canary Wharf. So I'm assuming that would make more sense for a UK audience. I didn't know what that was, but it seems like maybe a posh part of town is my guess based on where she goes. But she's got to schmooze the CEO to try to get back in their good graces.
Well, the way she says you'll never see me again makes me think it might not be the nice part of town. Also, Canary Wharf makes me think thinks where the mines are. There's just a bunch of canaries out there, and they've got to make sure the gas doesn't kill everyone. I don't know. You can reach us at teambingepodcast@gmail.com. We have an international audience. Tell us what's going on at Canary Wharf and why Herms is such an expensive brand. What they produce. Is it paints and latex? Herms, the paints and latex brand? I bet they make like scarves and stuff. We then go to open tryouts. Tom, when we started this podcast, I came in for the heart and you came in for the football of it all. Mm-hmm. How much did you enjoy open tryouts?
Oh, this open tryouts was great. And Chilton having them run the length of a field and back to weed out the people was gold and brilliant. But I thought the soccer was very solid in this sequence. I enjoyed it.
So let me ask you a question. They run sideline to sideline, not like goal to goal, right? And as I understand, soccer fields are not square. They're rectangle. So wouldn't it be goal to goal is the length to run them to really break them? But they do
Touché. They ran the width. They ran the width of this field, not the length of this field. I misspoke. And I guess it's touch line, not sideline. I think Beard corrects Ted earlier.
I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to say sideline until the day I die. Richmond till the day I die, sideline till the day I die. I really enjoyed meeting Lizzie Davies, who... Did you recognize this actress? Both my wife and I were like, we just watched something with her in this. Did you recognize her?
I definitely recognize her, but I could not put where she came from. I figured you would call it out. Where is she from?
So the actor's name is Faye Marsay. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that poorly, but she was in Andor. She was one of the people in the kind of rebel alliance, which my wife and I just recently watched and thought that it was fine. So, but she was great in it, and I appreciate the dynamic of... She showed up for tryouts. She couldn't find childcare, so her kid is with her. And I love Beard being like, good luck, and he gives her 13, which is 13 being unlucky. Is that international, or is that just us?
I feel like this is another like Taylor Swift call and reference because her lucky number is 13.
The bard
and
herself.
This ends up being Lizzie's lucky number. I do like that we get Beard saying like he gets it in terms of having to bring your child. Like my mom used to work at a bar. She said shot glasses were kids' cups. I thought that was a good line.
Golly. Shot glasses as kids' cup is a great line. Also, has anyone ever looked cooler using a shot glass than American Westerns? You know, I thought when I got older, I would just throw liquor back. Instead, I have to drink it from a tall cup in big gulps, you know? But, man, I wish as a kid I had learned to use shot glasses, you know, like Beard.
Smart. Yeah. They fit so well in your hand.
What's that supposed to mean? All right. Anyways.
I'm just saying children, they have smaller hands. I think that's the joke.
Yes, but that allows them to work the machinery better, Tom. The dexterity of the fingers allows them to get in while that wheels turn in, the gears turn in. You know, they can fix those things. So
I can just hear us getting canceled.
Not over child labor laws. We'll get canceled from, I don't know, tax evasion, but not child labor laws. Tom, let's meet Maria Rojas. How excited were you? This was fun.
Oh, this was fantastic. Like, the second I see her, I'm like, oh, this could be a fun dynamic of her kind of coming in and maybe being like the new star striker and then maybe getting a Rojas like, cameo later. But like the second Beard gets so excited, I'm like, oh, there's no way. She's going to be terrible.
It was great. I love he's like underlining striker. And
it's worth calling out real quick, though, talking about Danny Rojas. So the actor, or obviously that's the character on the show. I'm blanking on the actor's name right now, but he is actually playing semi-professional ball here in United States for, I believe, the El Paso Locomotive, local or USL team. So I think they play our local team here, the Phoenix Rising. So I'm definitely going to get a ticket and watch our boy Danny play some football.
Listen, as an aforementioned Redditor, the Reddit boards have fed clips of him playing in his, first professional game. So that's very cool. Uh-huh. And I liked that he has a descendant that joined the Lady Greyhounds. So I've probably said,
for what it's worth, I think he played like professionally in, I think it's Guatemala.
Okay.
I gotta look this up where he kind of came from.
Okay. Once again, these are the reviews we would get where they're like, listen, we love listening to him, but they don't know what they're talking about. 5 stars. Thank you, everyone, from across this globe.
Apologies.
All right.
Cristo Fernandez, actor's name, and yes, I believe he's maybe played for the Mexico team.
Well, I was excited to see Shannon back. Shannon, obviously, the character from Ted's Old Commute. She would be playing football in the park, and he would play with her, and so she has shown up. And I like to see that, Ted stuck it out with her in this episode in terms of she's going to be, I don't know how long she's going to be around for, but he keeps her on the team despite Beard and Chilton not wanting her.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what this is. Obviously Ted has a relationship and wants to see her succeed, but, is there something else Ted sees in the tryouts here that we are not seeing in terms of, her being, the passion, the want to be there? I think he sees that could potentially be good for the clubhouse if maybe not on the pitch.
She's not going to let him down, Tom, and that's that's the number one thing you want in a player. Not going to let him down. They I wrote in the outline I'm watching a lot of bad soccer, which you mentioned there was a lot of good soccer, a lot of good football. I meant for the people that are getting cut from the team, there was a lot of bad football. So I don't want that to like...
I think there were people smoking, trying to stretch. They couldn't get further than their knees. Like there's like an elderly woman, like also in the tryouts. I thought it was great, like the mix of people that came out here.
Tom, was not being able to reach your knees while stretching, was that a direct shot at me? That felt very purposeful, sir.
Not directly at you. I mean, I think you can probably get to your shins, right?
Every time my wife wants to prove something, she goes, hey, touch your toes. And it's one of the meanest things that she does. But it's just so funny. I'll say something about doing something physical, and she'll be like, hey, touch your toes. Show them how you can touch your toes. And it's just, I'm literally crying right now. It hurts me.
I'm going to borrow that
so much. No, please don't. And this stays between you and I, obviously.
Okay,
all right. We get this. I love this where they like bring in this one-on-one mano-a-mano with Maria Rojas and Boots in the goal, and we're gonna have this like epic moment. And my TV brain went, "Oh, this is gonna go poorly for the Rojas," and still laughed. Once again, a misdirect that was very funny.
Yeah, and like I love when she misses the ball, and like Beard's like, it's okay, it's just nerves, Like he still wants to believe that she's a good soccer player. And like we also had that storyline. It was the start of season 2 when Rojas murders a dog. So we know that like he had like the yips, and like Rojas has the Rojas family has a history of struggling with free kicks.
Sure. I had forgotten about the dog murder in this show. I'm glad you brought it up. Ultimately, she misses the ball a bunch and then goes over to the coaches, and they're like, you said Danny taught you everything you know. And she's like, yeah, all the important stuff like photography and, friendship and those things. And then she's like, life is more than football. And I just thought that was so funny. So funny.
Oh, I loved
Ted's
it.
like less catchy, but true, and it was just a great like acknowledgement of, that line is not a catch-all for football is life, but a lot of fun. Quick cut to Keely's storyline where the kits have not arrived, and Tom, I'm experiencing a similar issue with Amazon right now regarding a return. So this hit really close to home. I got to be honest, I wept openly when I found out her delivery had not arrived.
Mm-hmm. We do meet a new character. So this is June, which I love her vibe. She's like doesn't like telling people bad news. Wants Keely to be your mentor. Is this the kit man, the kit woman for the Lady Greyhounds? Is that what you're picking up here?
Yeah, my understanding is this is the kit woman for the Lady Greyhounds based on later parts of this episode. And I love her being like, the kits are not going to arrive on time. Also, I'd like to have a cup of coffee with you while you mentor me. And Keely being like, this is a weird time to ask for that. It's just very funny.
Yeah, I loved it.
All right, we have Lizzie's kid goes up to Ted and is like, hey, will you open my snacks? And I don't know. Tom, let's make some conjecture.
Go.
Do we see Lizzie for Ted? Do we see Lizzie for Coach Beard? Do we not see any romantic relationship? Is this just like Ted as a parent, Lizzie as a parent? This is the connection that they're going to have as we move through this season. What do you think?
I wasn't picking up any sort of like romantic kind of vibes with any of this like scene. I feel like a lot what they're pulling on here is they want to do the joke about taxes where Ted opens it up, steals a couple of the chips or crisps, and has a little like thing under his breath like, who the heck was that?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I think much more of this is like Lizzie being a mom, having the kid there, and being the one that can essentially, not only is she good on the pitch and a good player, but she can be there to kind of almost be the mom to these twins and kind of put them in their place a little bit and work better together.
Right. Yep. Coaching, momming. Yep. I saw that as well. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I don't know. I think it's just my TV brain is like, hey, she had a moment with Beard earlier. We've got Ted who's helping out the kid. Yeah, you're probably right. It's not going to turn into anything. But if it does, I called it here. I just want to point that out right now. Lock it down. Put a pin in it.
Put a clock in it.
That we will never come back to. We already talked about it, but Shannon is doing okay, and Ted doesn't want to cut her, and he keeps asking Chilton and Beard what they want to do, and they definitely want to cut her. And ultimately, he's the head coach, so he gets to make the decision, which we see later on. But I thought that was interesting that they're gonna keep the heart.
Yeah, that's what Ted's all about.
He's all about the heart. We get the Pinter visit, and this CEO, she seems pretty nice, right? I would probably trick or treat at her house and not expect to get poison or a razor blade, huh? Right?
I mean, she's probably getting out full candy bars, though, as a CEO for a big company.
Full of poison.
I do appreciate their stare down. At first, I thought it was kind of dumb, but then it goes on just long enough to be funny, and I thought it was great.
Didn't we learn from Michael Scott, never be the first one to talk? It's part of the negotiating process. There is, ultimately, the CEO's like, listen, we're not going to move forward sponsoring the women's team because of the animosity towards them. And Rebecca's got a great line. She's like, animosity, you guys start wars. Which
well, they're profitable.
Good. Yes, a great line as well. They can be, that's for sure. And we get Rebecca, who I don't know what her level of bought-inness is, and I know that's not a word.
No, it is.
But she's like, she gives her the speech about how important this is for women's sports, to give them a chance to succeed. And so I liked her, even though we've seen in past episodes her not necessarily believing. I liked her fighting for the team in this moment.
Yes, I thought it was a very good speech. And again, I feel like it's just weird because of the way they've set her character up thus far, at least for this season. Like, I certainly see her as one that has Keely's back and wants to see this successful. So it was very nice to hear this speech come from her. And I do like how this other CEO says, well, I was wrong about Brexit, so maybe I'll stick with you guys.
I had a good laugh at that one. I didn't understand it, and I didn't vote one way or another, but I thought it was pretty funny. All right, let's hit the coaches. They are talking. Once again, I could spend time with these three all the time. And they all agree Lizzie should be on the team. I'm assuming is kind of like a leader as well as she is a player who plays well. And I did not love that of the three of them, Chilton was like, hey, no kids at practice. Show up, but no kids. I was like, maybe we could handle that with a little bit of grace. But apparently Chilton hates kids. What can you say?
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can say. I mean, they got practice the next morning at 8 a.m., and she's got to find some childcare. It's not going to be easy.
Well, one would hope that child goes to school, right? And goes to Hogwarts, learns witchcraft and wizardry, and
no, he's out of age.
Illuminus or whatever. Oh, he's an underage wizard?
Yeah. Got to be at least 13, 12, 11? I don't know. There's an age that they go. Come at me, Harry Potter nerds.
I never got my letter. Tom. I'm still waiting on it. I've still got eligibility, Hogwarts, if you're looking for, I don't know, a safety or a linebacker. Yeah, something like that. I love that.
You're a bludger.
A bludger, sure, whatever that means. A bludger sounds like a drink or a hit off of a bong. All right, let's move on. We have all the coaches being like, no on Shannon, Ted being like, all right, I should be the one to tell her. And then he does not turn her down.
He does not. They get the hug. I like how Beard, as he's saying, oh, he's great with this. He'll be able to, put her down nicely and tell her well. It's like, not me. I broke a lot of hearts. And it's like, what? More weird Beard backstory.
Right. And Chilton just not having any of it. And so we find out we still need a striker. Tom, let's talk about what striker means. Striker's like a forward that scores, right? They've got to be quick and good with ball handling. Is that the reason they're called strikers? They're not bludgeoners or quidditchers or snitches, I guess. Is that what they were called?
Yeah, they don't get stitches. No, striker, yes, they are the forwards. They are the people that generally strike the ball the most.
Interesting. It would make sense as to why they call them that. So we've got to go find this mythical Gemma. That's what we're looking for at this point. So All right, let's cut real fast. We get a scene with Henry and Ted in the pub, and I like what they're doing with May. I like that May is fully invested in the Lady Greyhounds. Like, something that didn't happen for her generation is happening for this one. And she's got season tickets. She's going to take the time off to go to the game. She's enthusiastic about this. And so I do appreciate they show her at a couple of different parts during this episode supporting this team. And I thought it was a really cool thing to do with her character. I also thought it was cool that apparently Ted does this thing with Henry where he goes, hey, tell me about the rose and the thorn of your day. So like the good and the bad, which is something we do with our kids at family dinner. And I think my kids are always just like, it's fine. It's all fine. Everything's fine. So you got to kind of pull it out of them. But I do like this exercise.
Yeah, my kid are like, hey, what'd you do at school today, buddy? He's like, stuff and things. That's his
Nice.
That's his go-to.
Nice.
But yeah, I like the Rose and Thorn conversation. It's great. And then obviously May is still May. She has some colorful words.
Sure.
And we get that call back to kind of Ted telling Henry, like, hey, these are words that we hear, but we don't say out loud.
We do not say. We do not say. And your kid listening to Lasso from upstairs coming down and repeating the opening of this episode. Similar vibe. Similar vibe. Ted and Chilton go to see Gemma, who is going to be their striker. And we did get a quick scene earlier in the episode where Chilton goes and like watches her play in kind of like a local pickup league, I guess. And she completely ignores her. And so there seems to be some sort of backstory here. And we get it a little bit in the library where we find out that... Thank you. I was going to say Chilton, and then you started and so I said Chilton, but that's someone else entirely. But Gemma explains that Chilton is the reason she quit football, and it's because apparently she was just so hard on her. She called her a lazy cow, and then this line where she's like, why would a lazy cow become a lawyer? And Ted taking all of the wrong cues from it was just so good.
I loved the way this was shot too, because it's like once they get into their whisper fighting, they like go underneath the lights and lamps that are right there, and the lighting is just so great. But yeah, I guess it's like Chilton is saying she always plays the victim, but then as she leaves, Ted kind of says like, hey, you were the only person on her list. She really wants you on the team. I'm assuming we'll get some sort of heart-to-heart kind of conversation later where, you know, Chilton just saw the talent in Gemma and felt like she needed to push her kind of a thing and didn't mean anything by it, just wanted the best for her. But obviously we're starting out with some bad blood.
Sure. Yeah. And now we've got bad blood, you know? That's the second
T-Swift everywhere.
reference to our generation's bard, the greatest artist of all. Oh, we'll save it for our Taylor Swift podcast, Tom, that we do solo and then edit together, and we get a producer to drop a beat behind it. So
yeah, talking Tay-Tay.
Yeah, that's right, talking Tay-Tay. That one, unfortunately, children, is explicit. Let's move on to Keely getting the kits. And through line throughout this episode is Keely is trying to make all this happen. She's got the world on her shoulders trying to make this team work. I do like that throughout the episode, Roy is kind of checking in. Like, you can tell there's still feelings there, but he doesn't want to push too hard. So he is, from a professional standpoint, showing up and, like, asking her how she's doing and trying to help.
Yeah, he's just kind of like failing seemingly at every turn, trying to be there for her.
Right. Yeah, at one point he's like, oh, I love that article. And it's this Vanity Fair article that she has on her wall, which the delivery driver also brings up. And she seems to be upset about it. And I don't think we run into it in this episode, but I guess I'm wondering why she's not proud of that Vanity Fair article.
I mean, I feel like the only thing I really remember from that one was like it was supposed to be Keely and Roy together and then like featured, but then Roy was like, no, only feature her, and like there were no pictures of Roy in it, so maybe she's like thinking back that they should have been together as like the couple. I don't know. I don't think that's the case, but it does seem odd that they would like have her feature in her office yet still be. It's not embarrassed by it. I don't know what is in this article that she seems so offended by.
Right. I don't know either. I'm sure we'll get a little bit more of it. But ultimately, the kits aren't arriving. All of this is going poorly, which leads to her going to Rebecca and ruining Rebecca's, like, I'm going to say 12th date that she's stood up Matthias for. Mm-hmm. And but I like that Rebecca's got Keely's back and is there to support her. It's great.
For sure. Yeah.
All of this leads to the grand finale where we have the women's team debut. And before it, because we don't have kits, what do you think's in the box that Keely got delivered? It wasn't Gwyneth Paltrow's head. I can tell you that. The box was too small. What was in the box, Tom?
I'm saying business cards. It seemed like a business card style box.
Okay. I often get fed on the internet where someone like ordered something that was supposed to be genuine, but it's like a miniature version of it. And so that's why it's so cheap once again. So I wondered if this was a box of like, I don't know, doll-size kits instead of real person kits. I don't know.
Pretty great. Yeah.
I enjoyed Roy calling her to wish her luck and her just like ranting on the phone. And I thought he handled it well. And ultimately, he decides, he looks at his socks and decides to help.
I do like how like they're showing Roy at the men's game with this big Manchester United logo behind him kind of like shaking the hands of all the guys as they're going by, but they didn't pay for any of these guys to return, at least in this scene. So it's just everybody's shot from like the waist down.
Sure. Yeah, all the jerseys on the back just say human. It's like human 1, human 2, human 3. Yeah. All right, before the game, Tom, I know you had a pregame ritual. Before you went out on the pitch, before you struck all those goals, before you did all those headers, was your pregame ritual to watch Susan Boyle audition tapes? Because that's what Ted's is.
Oh, that was great. I like how he's tearing up and really getting into this. I don't know if I had any fancy pregame rituals outside of, once I step onto the field, I grab a little grass and then eat it.
Sure.
But other than that, I don't think I had anything too crazy.
Yep. I never
That's
played
why they called
sports,
me the crazy cow.
But I would always go and have the coach inject me in the knees with whatever was in that syringe, just so I could sit in the stands and watch,
Varsity Blues style. Well done.
Yeah, that's exactly right. John Voight. Before I walked up those stairs to sit in the bleachers, I wanted my knees to feel good, so I'd go get shot up by the trainer.
Well, it's so you could get to the bleachers.
Exactly. Although drinking started later in life, so those were just normal people's knees that didn't work well. Maybe drinkers' knees are just normal people's knees that don't work well. We've just added the drink, Tom. Maybe we've solved it. Hey, why is Gemma showing up for this game 5 minutes before? What's happening here?
Because it's dramatic, man. I like how she... That's it. It's dramatic. It's fun. It's great. It's just a friendly, too, so it's not like any of the... I mean, obviously, it means something to Keely we found in the other episode, which is very, very fair. But this isn't like an official game towards their points for the season. But I do like that Gemma kind of gets called out for like still being a lawyer, and Chilton is like, 1 foot out, 1 foot in kind of concept. But obviously, like in a starting league like this, like it makes sense for these women to still have their professional careers. Like I can't imagine the club is paying them enough to be able to sustain. So I completely understand and get it. But I do like Jed's joke about the 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and it worked for the hokey pokey.
Yeah, no, it was a great Tedism. And I agree with you. If you don't have to quit your studies or day job, because this is a little bit of a gamble, maybe we have a plan B. I think that's important. So I enjoyed all of this. We then get Roy calling Phoebe, and no one makes jerseys faster than a group of kids. So these kids go in, and I did enjoy the reveal of the kits being all bedazzled and everything. I thought they looked great. And then we have Boots really rocking her. Is a goalie jersey or kit called something different in football? Because they always are wearing a different one. Is it just their goalie jersey?
Goalies have to wear a different color just so they know, like, if there's a corner kick or something like that and they're kind of coming up, the refs can more easily spot them, not only against the other team, but as the only person on the pitch that can use their hands. So it doesn't matter what color, it just can't match the other team or the refs. Sometimes that is a problem.
Tom, has a team ever thought, and I'm just throwing this out there, once again, I'm an amateur footballer, putting all of their team in goalie jerseys, therefore allowing them to all use their hands? It feels like that would give the whole team an advantage. Is that something that's been tried before?
It sounds like a loophole that hasn't been exploited yet, so I'm in.
That one's for free. Everyone out there that's any professional footballers that listen to us, first, email us at teambingepodcast@gmail.com. Let us know your stats, and then you can use that little stratagem for free. Speaking of real footballers, I didn't recognize them, but I'm sure the people that were the announcers for this game were real footballers. Right, Tom?
I did not know Jill Scott, but I definitely recognized Rebecca Lowe here. She's a very famous. I think she does like a lot of like the pregame shows for the Premier League. Like her voice is very, very recognizable, and she's a fantastic. I don't know if she was an announcer. I don't know. She's kind of more like what Roy was last season, kind of more in the studio. But it was great, and I'd love to see that cameo because we had the same thing in the previous seasons where you had like real announcers that were doing the games that do EFL games or EPL games nowadays.
Right. And you've got one announcer that's kind of straight-laced and the other one that's going like very verbose and like poetic. Yes. And I thought they were very funny. What I didn't find very funny is they were like, oh, this game is super boring. And I guess you could chalk it up to maybe these teams haven't like prepared well enough or practiced well enough. But this was all like, hey, we've like made the purpose that women's sports can be exciting, but ultimately we all showed up for the game and it's boring. And there are a lot of people out there shouting about how football, and once again soccer, is generally boring, like often being a 1-0 game. I have watched enough soccer or football to realize it's not boring. The World Cup was on not that long ago. It's fun to watch. But I didn't really appreciate the show being like, hey, we got here, also everyone's bored. This was, I know, like, they then introduced Gemma, but ultimately we still have a team of boring players. You can't just have one, like, electric player on the team for this league to work. So I felt like this was a little bit wrong-footed, I guess.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, if this is the show still being a little more heavy-handed about like women's sports and why people aren't watching it, I don't know if that's what they were doing, or if the team just essentially needed a spark to bring in Gemma, which I loved bringing her in, and then her scoring the goal. I thought it was again quite a lot, and like women's soccer is fantastic to watch. Like obviously recording here in the United States of America, we have one of the best women's team ever to exist in the history of the sport. So it's fantastic football and really entertaining to watch.
Sure. And after Gemma scores, Ted and Beard high five, and Beard goes to high five Chilton, and she waves him off. And I thought, is high fiving not international? High fiving definitely seems like it's international. I'm pretty sure I've seen footage of like, I don't know, a dictator in another country getting assassinated, and the assassins high five. Like, I don't know why does she not high five?
I don't know. I didn't necessarily clock that. I feel like later on, like when they got to like the locker room or like in the clubhouse, they did a lot more like grabbing and shaking of shoulders than there was high fives going on. But I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was just, I don't know, maybe Britt's low five? I don't know. Maybe it was just too high of a high five. I have no idea. We have a lovely moment with Keely and Roy at the end where Roy, who loves paperwork, has put together his own, I don't know, commission, Higgins report, and he drops it on Keely's desk. And once again, this is just him trying to support Keely and the women's team, which I appreciate.
There were a lot more pages in this report. I know she only read the first page, so maybe she'll get to the other ones. Or do you think every page just says FM on it?
It says FM, and then the next page is like, actually, legitimately, it's going to be a struggle to get this league off the ground. And he's like, I'm just being honest because I'm Roy Kent. So, and based on how boring they made the game be, we're going to struggle. But they did use a phrase that you love to use in this scene, and boy, oh howdy, did I clock it.
I love this. So I feel like I picked up this phrase from Jason Mantzoukas on the How Did This Get Made podcast, but she says cuckoo bananas, which is just a phrase that I absolutely love. And to hear it come from Keely in this show brought me so much joy.
Yep, I clocked it. I was like, oh, that's a phrase Tom says a lot. And so I'm glad you also clocked it. And speaking of clocking, which I think we've gotten reviews about how much we say clocking, Susan Boyle's song from Les Mis that she sang for her audition on that show that I didn't watch plays.
You're going to watch it right after this pod, and you're going to cry.
Sure. I haven't cried in years, so I would love to start tonight as I am half sober. But it plays beautifully, and so wrapped it up nicely. I enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed where we're going. I will be interested to see where they take the sport of it all. I'm assuming they have to make the game. Not that we came to Lasso for, like, the sports of it all. Everyone that was in the other than Danny Rojas, everyone else was, they're actors that played when they were kids. So it's not like we need the sports side of it. But I'm glad we have Lizzie. I'm glad we have Gemma. I'm interested to see how this, grows, and then how they interact with, it seems like the Irish twins and Boots are the other ones that we're gonna have storylines built around. So I'm interested to see where we go there.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about in the last episode. It's like they introduced a bunch of characters that are kind of already on the team, and now doing this episode to kind of give us more backstories for these new team members kind of joining, and then, having past relationships with Chilton on Gemma's side, and then kind of the dynamics with Lizzie, right? I thought she was great, and you already kind of have some backstory there. So really already kind of, only a handful of episodes in, rounding out the teammates we're going to have, and I'm excited for more.
Yeah, I am too. Very quickly, we would just like to say we appreciate all of you listening. If we miss something or you have something that you'd like to kindly add to the discussion, you can reach us at teambingepodcast@gmail.com. If you listen on Spotify, if you would do us a favor of hitting the follow button, as well as if you hit our podcast, the 3 dots, and at the bottom it says rate this podcast, give us 5 stars. It helps us out, as well as on the Apple Podcast app. You can scroll down after you hit our podcast and it says write a review. Write a review, we'll read it on pod. Tom's about to read a couple from our international audience. We just appreciate you taking the time. It means a lot to us as we grow this podcast. A side note, as we are working on Silo right now, as well as Ted Lasso, eventually Silo will fall away, and on our docket is a little Apple TV show called Dark Matter. If you did not watch season 1, we would encourage you to go watch it. It's a fun, twisty sci-fi show, and that's probably what we're going to pick up next while we are also continuing with Lasso. And then I did want to hit audience quarter, Tom. We got a very nice email from Allison L. I guess we were talking about Higgins' middle name because we find out that it's an R, and Allison was very kind enough to remind us that earlier Higgins said that he was named after his mother, and so he said he was a feminine junior. And so we are excited to find out what that R stands for, and I believe that changes our guess from Reginald to, I don't know, Regina, something along those lines. So we appreciate you reaching out on that, Allison. And then the only other one I wanted to quickly touch on, Tom, because I know we've run long, is Barrett reached out to us, and one of the things he brought up was booby trapping locker rooms, and I don't feel like we spent enough time discussing what our strategy would be booby trapping the visiting team's locker room. So, Tom, let's put a pin in it, but sometimes we should discuss that. I gotta be honest, mine involves a lot of Vaseline all over handles and benches and stuff.
Ooh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be a separate podcast, Booby Trapping with Julian and Tom. But yes, thank you as always for reaching out to us, Barrett, longtime listener. Really appreciate you. But we did get a handful of 5-star reviews, or at least had some 5-star reviews that we just stumbled across because we figured out Apple can show you the international stuff. So this one came from Rob Ralston from the UK, watching us through Ted Lasso, which we appreciate. But he said he felt duty bound to leave a review. Says, we have dry humor, and I do want to point out he spelled humor wrong. He did O-U.
He added
so
the
weird.
U. He's a British guy. That's great. Thanks, Rob.
But yeah, enjoyed our dry humor, said we were a great podcast. And again, really appreciate that because, again, we are a small podcast. So all these 5-star reviews really help us with the algorithms and getting this into more people's ears. So thank you very much, Rob. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Tom, were there any social stuff that you wanted to hit before we sign off?
Yes, as always, follow us on Team Binge or at Team Binge Podcast. Let us know what you're thinking of the show. Again, we're doing this, and like Julian mentioned, and Silo. So if there's any kind of fun theories you have from this show or what you kind of want more of, or again, things we missed, because we know the show is loaded with callbacks, Ted Lasso. So definitely reach out, let us know, and we'll make sure we read it on the next Audience Corner.
All right. For Team Binge, I have been Julian.
And I have been Tom. Until next week, everybody.